We still don't believe that a major ground operation in Rafah is warranted. We still don't want to see the Israelis, as we say, smash into Rafah with large units over large pieces of territory. We still believe that, and we haven't seen that at this point. But we're going to be watching this, of course, very, very closely.
Breaking barriers does not mean you start on one side of the barrier and you end up on the other side. There's a break.
The Biden administration expressed close monitoring of the investigation into a recent deadly Israeli airstrike, which it described as tragic, but not crossing any U.S. red lines. National Security Council spokesman John Kirby stated that while the incident was a tragic mistake, according to Israeli officials, it did not qualify as a major ground operation in Rafah that would trigger a halt in U.S. aid to Israel.
We have been, I think, very strident in our condemnations about the deaths of innocent civilians. These deaths are not excused from that. But we have to understand what happened here. There's going to be an investigation. They've already said it was a tragic mistake. They're looking into it. They have been able to investigate themselves and hold people accountable in the past. We'll see what they do here.
Kirby confirmed that current Israeli actions, primarily around Rafah's outskirts, did not meet the criteria for U.S. aid withdrawal. Despite recent fatalities in Rafah testing President Biden's commitment to limit arms to Israel if a large-scale invasion occurred, Kirby noted that such a situation had not yet arisen.
Maybe some people have forgotten what happened on the 7th of October, but we haven't. 1,200 Israelis, innocent Israelis, slaughtered, mutilated, raped, tortured. And they're living right next to that kind of threat. Still a viable threat in Rafah, by the way. If you think Hamas is just gone, they're not gone from Rafah or from Gaza. And if you think they've abandoned their genocidal intent towards the nation of Israel, think again, they haven't. So Israel has every right to not want to live next to that kind of threat. And yes, we're going to continue to provide them the capabilities to go after it.
Vice President Kamala Harris labeled the airstrike tragic during a Washington event, responding to reports of 45 Palestinian deaths from the strike and additional casualties from subsequent shelling, which Israel denied. Israel attributed the May 26th airstrike, which aimed at 2 senior Hamas operatives, to a targeting error, while Hamas acknowledged the death of 2 fighters in the incident.
On Sunday night, we eliminated senior Hamas terrorists in a targeted strike on a compound used by Hamas in Rafah. The strike was based on precise intelligence that indicated that these terrorists, who were responsible for orchestrating and executing terror attacks against Israelis, were meeting inside the specific structure we targeted.
Kirby remarked that Israel's use of precision-guided munitions suggested an attempt at targeted strikes, despite the unintended civilian casualties, which warranted further investigation. He cautioned that Israel's military tactics might lead to increased international isolation, a concern for both Israeli and U.S. interests.
We have been, I think, very strident in our condemnations about the deaths of innocent civilians. These deaths are not excused from that. But we have to understand what happened here. There's going to be an investigation. They've already said it was a tragic mistake. They're looking into it. They have been able to investigate themselves and hold people accountable in the past. We'll see what they do here.
Human rights and Arab American groups criticized the U.S. response, with Nihad Awad from the Council on American-Islamic Relations condemning President Biden's continued military support for Israel amid the Rafah conflict, labeling it as contributing to what he termed a genocide. an assertion rejected by both Israeli and US officials.